The average household in America carries about $15,000 in credit card debt. Our average mortgage debt, another $147,000. And our outstanding student loan balance, on average, another almost $32,000. As Americans, we seem to be swimming in debt. And I think we all understand the impact that has on our life. Well, over the last few episodes, my guest has been Rachel Cruze. Her new book is called Love Your Life, Not Theirs, and she promises some simple money habits that will help us get out of debt and enjoy the life we want to live. We're going to look at some of those habits and more on today's One Simple Thing podcast.
It's time to build a better business by building a better you. This is One Simple Thing.
Welcome back to the show. Dave Kirby here once again, and today is our recap episode where we look back at my conversations with author and financial expert Rachel Cruze as we talk about her book, Love Your Life, Not Theirs, and the 7 simple money habits that can help us live that life and live it with more peace, more happiness, and more contentment. During our very first conversation together on episode 541, Rachel talked about what might be the biggest enemy of our financial freedom, and that's the tendency we have to compare ourselves with others.
It gets us in trouble with our finances, but it also gets in trouble, I think, with just the happiness and the joy that we have in our present life. It's amazing how comparing your life to others can just steal your joy. Theodore Roosevelt said that comparison is the thief of joy, and it's so true. It can just snatch away, the happiness and the joy that you can experience in the moment because you're concentrating on someone else's life, not yours.
Well, you make the point in the book that, it's human nature to covet or to compare, right? It's even in the 10 Commandments.
Right. Right there, plain and simple. It should just say, Twitter, Instagram.
So is it possible? I mean, is it possible for us to overcome that human inclination to compare with others? And how do we do that?
Yeah, I don't know if it's a hard and fast stopping point. I think it's going to be an ebb and flow during your different seasons of life. But I have found for me personally that when I am grateful, it is so much easier to quit comparing. And it's so much easier to love the life that I'm living and not trying to live someone else's. And so gratitude has become a principle in my life. It's not tangible and tactical, like it is with the numbers and the budgets and other things that I teach, but just the concept wholeheartedly of learning to be grateful for what you have. I believe in a heart filled with gratitude, there is no room for comparisons and discontentment. And so for me, this has helped me fight this battle of comparison day in and day out, but it still creeps in. I mean, it's everywhere, whether it's billboards, magazines, social media, wherever people are. And more than ever, we get a picture into everyone's lives. And so really having to keep on the forefront, hey, I have so much to be grateful for in my own life. So when I feel discontent, that's where I always go back to.
Gratitude, such an important key in our lives, not just for happiness, but according to Rachel, also for our financial well-being as well. On episode 542, we continue kind of talking about this idea of comparison, specifically the impact that social media has had on us, feeding that need to compare ourselves with others or keep up with the Joneses.
The reality of what life is, social media is the opposite of that, really. It's everyone's highlight reel. It's the best part of everyone's life through a filter that looks glamorous and wonderful. And what's hard is we compare our lives to that. And it's like, that life that we see on social media, it's unattainable. It's not real because, like you said, we're not seeing the other parts of their life. We're not seeing the entire picture. And so for us as a culture, we have to remember that. And I was laughing the other day because basically what you said about the car, but seeing, this brand new kitchen of a friend, she had redone it and it was like gorgeous. And, the beautiful hanging lights over the new islands with the granite countertops. I mean, it was just, everything was beautiful.
It was like Chip and Joanna had gone into her house.
I was going to say Joanna Gaines went in and did her magic is what it looked like. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so beautiful. Everything's coordinated. The plants and the pots somehow match. It's just crazy. But my friend who was her friend, she was like, yeah, well, they took out a second mortgage on the house and he may lose his job, and kind of started unpacking this girl's life. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm sitting there. It was kind of actually as I was writing the book after this part, but I was like, yes, okay, that's it. Like that's real life. That's what we're not seeing that. And so that's what we have to remember is that, again, it's the best part of everyone's life.
Well, so in the book, you have a chapter, it's called #blessed versus blessed, right? And there's this distinction between the two of those. One, I'm assuming, is kind of the forward-facing image, the #blessed. But the other is the internal focus of, am I really grateful? How do I establish the fact that I truly am blessed in my life?
Yes, it was so fun. As I was writing the book, I had a talk that I was giving at a conference. I was kind of going over that at the same time I was writing the book. And I thought, again, no one puts like a 1990 Honda Civic with 300 miles on it, and put it on Facebook. I'm like, this is what my husband just bought me, #blessed. And, just this idea of like, oh, I'm so blessed. And so I hashtagged blessed in my Instagram, sitting there on my couch just to see what came up. And it was, first class airline tickets and these like rooftop bars and all this. It was a guy taking a picture of himself in the mirror with like 6-pack abs. And he's like, hard workout today, #blessed. I was like, oh my gosh, okay, this is so over the top. It's unbelievable. This #blessed it's not, necessarily a picture of a family or, back to what really genuinely makes us happy in life. It's so you could say on the surface kind of the shallow things. And so I'm not against nice stuff either. I'm not against first class airline tickets or fun restaurants, none of that. I think those are great. Enjoy them, pay for them with cash, but enjoy it. But on social media, again, it's just this funny tag that everyone puts on. And so it's that part of everyone's life, not the true blessings and the true meaning of our lives. And so just reminding myself and also my readers of, hey, let's go back to like, okay, what really is a true blessing in our life? What is the blessing God has given us? And focusing on that side of it and the gratefulness, and not necessarily that the new car is the hot new thing.
It's funny, just yesterday in a conversation with some folks I was working with, I heard somebody bring up the #blessed thing and kind of joking around about it. But we do, so many of us put that hashtag on stuff, and it's always about the fancy stuff. It's always about what we consider to be the good news stuff, right? But we think about our lives and we start truly getting down beyond the hashtag into what we really have been blessed with. And it does make such a difference in our attitude, the way we move forward in lives, because, there's lots of things that, we've been blessed with that maybe we wouldn't put a hashtag in front of. But it's those things when we start really focusing on them that have the biggest impact on our happiness in our lives. Okay, so Rachel's book promises 7 money habits that'll help you live the life you want. And on episode 543, we took a look at each of the 7. But before we did, we had an interesting conversation about debt. And Rachel shared her thoughts and kind of unique perspective.
It's an interesting topic, and I have a kind of a unique perspective because I was actually born the year my parents declared bankruptcy. And so my parents came out of this horrible mess financially and this hole of doing things really not well and resulting in bankruptcy. And so growing up, I really had this front row seat of watching Dave and Sharon Ramsey figure out how money works. And because of that, I have learned to really hate debt. And I think to see what it does to other people, saw what it did to my family. And granted, you sign on to it, and my parents would say that for sure. Dave takes responsibility for those decisions. He's the one that got himself into it. But you see that there are so many lies in our culture that people have bought into, that that's a tool, that's going to help you, that's good for you, and all these things. And then we look at just the statistics, and I could rattle them off, for days on end, of the student loan debt that's out there today, maxing close to $1.3 trillion. Absolutely insane. The average family owes $15,000 on credit cards. And so, you just look at this, and that 70% of 70% of households live paycheck to paycheck. And the stress and the anxiety that comes around money, I believe a lot of it results to debt because your paycheck comes in and your paycheck goes right back out to payments, and you don't have a say over that money. You don't have a say to go, okay, I want to invest this $500 a month. No, because it's going to a car loan, a car that's sitting in your driveway that's going down in value every month. It's just these absurd things that we've seemed to as a culture become so normal. We've been caught up in, and it's left people broken, and it's left people stranded. And so I've just seen the effects of debt, and I can't sit here and just say that debt has helped people. I see that debt harms people more than it helps them. And learning to steer clear of that altogether and making that a habit in your life where you say, I'm going to save up and pay for something even as large as a car. And so just making that a part of your life, I just see the peace that comes with it. Because as people start to get out of debt and get out of this financial bondage that they're in, the peace and the freedom that comes with it is it's undeniable, and it's amazing getting to talk to these families and spend time with people across the country as I travel, hearing this that it is a real thing that debt steals so much from us, and so being able to not let that be a part of your life God, the stress and the worry that leave. It's pretty amazing.
I always remember growing up, my mom would tell me, when you're in debt, other people own your money. You don't own your money, right? You owe it to them. They own your money. So the number one way to get control of our lives, to get control of our own money, is to get out of debt. Then we own it, and we can decide where we want it to go. So good advice from Rachel. One of the foundations of her 7 money habits is having a plan for your money, or a budget. We talked briefly on episode 544 about how some people feel like a budget is like a ball and chain, or it restricts their freedom. But Rachel has another perspective about budgets.
I like to look at the budget as permission to spend. It allows you to do the things you want and do the things you value. You just have to do it on purpose, just like you're saying. And so we said this earlier in an earlier podcast, but it's true. And it also just makes your spending more enjoyable, because when you go to Starbucks, you're not thinking, oh, am I just wasting, this $5? I probably should put, oh gosh, you're second guessing yourself. No, you can get that drink and enjoy it because that's what you planned for. And so, yes, it does have to come from somewhere there. So that means that other categories may have to lower for you to up the Starbucks category. But if that's what you choose to do, then you definitely can. But again, it's just the intentionality behind the spending.
Or it's going on the guilt-free vacation, right? It's knowing that I'm not leaving the cable bill unpaid because I went on a vacation I knew I shouldn't have gone on.
Amen. It takes the guilt and the shame out of I think money in general, because again, being in control, you're able to say, hey, I saved up for this. This is what we're choosing to do, and we can go and spend and enjoy. My husband and I, we just did this actually a few weekends ago. We did a kind of a last-minute trip to the beach before my fall travel season got crazy, and we had some money saved that we were saving for a vacation later down the year, so we decided to take this fund instead and take a smaller vacation, which we did, but we chose to do that. And it was like, hey, the money was there. We didn't have to feel guilty about it or bad for it. We were able to spend it and enjoy that time.
Guilt-free spending. Kind of like the ring of that, don't you? That's what a budget allows us to have. When we know every dollar has a place, when we know that our obligations are being taken care of, when we know we're out of debt, and then we are able to assign money to spend on the things we want, right? And then there's no guilt, there's no shame, there's no regret, right? Because we've done it on purpose. Wonderful strategy from Rachel, and I really appreciate her being on the show over the last few episodes. Obviously, we just touched on the highlights today. You can go back and listen to those episodes in their entirety. It's 541 through 544. You'll find them on our website at onesimplething.online.com. There's also show notes. There are links in the show notes to everything we talked about during the episodes. You'll find all of that, again, at onesimplething.online.com. And don't forget, Rachel's book is out. It's called Love Your Life, Not Theirs. You can find it through the banner ad on our website. Just look on the right-hand side of the page. Or if you're accessing the show notes, it's also right at the top of each show notes page. There's a banner ad there as well. Just click on it, and you'll be able to pick up your copy of Rachel's book called Love Your Life, Not Theirs. And we hope you'll do exactly that. I'm Dave Kirby. Thank you for being with me today. On the next episode, I'm going to be talking to Glenn Livingston about a simple secret that he's found to never binge eat again, or never to indulge in things that we know make us unhealthy, those food items or behaviors we know that are not good for us, but we don't seem to be able to get control over them. Glenn has found a simple secret to silence that voice, and we're going to share it with you on the next episode of the One Simple Thing podcast. I'm Dave Kirby. I hope you join me then.